2, 1.
Good afternoon. My name is Tom Kendall, and this is a meeting of the Finance Committee. I'm chairman of the committee, and to my left is John Swayzer, member of the committee. This is the 18th of July, and it's 5:20 in the afternoon. We have one item to come before Finance. Mr. Titterington, will you please brief us on that? Thank you.
2 or 3 years ago, we did an analysis of the condition of Fire Station 1, where they evaluated the space needs as well as the mechanical systems and other infrastructure related to that building, that site. We also had a companion study that was being done analyzing operational needs, organizational needs, response times, and they both tied together because given that we have such a large geographic area that we serve as a district, we have 3 fire stations. It's important that that Fire Station 1 be positioned in a location that will allow us to continue to provide service levels, calls for service, response times within the acceptable standards. So we evaluated several opportunities, several options, including renovating Fire Station 1, which would upgrade the mechanicals but not provide us with the space needs that we have in the sleeping areas as well as the equipment bays. We looked at the possibility of demolishing current Fire Station 1, rebuilding on the current location, and we've also explored a couple of different sites in that general area of Fire Station 1 that we thought may be available for acquisition. The one that we have reached conditional offer and agreement with is at 110 East Canal Street. That is a property that previously housed, I guess, Sunshade, among other uses. It is on Canal Street, and it is surrounded by 3 roads. It takes up the block that is bounded by Walnut to the west of it, Canal on the north side of it, and Mulberry on the east of it. It is a site that is approximately twice as large as current Fire Station 1, which was a concern, particularly given parking needs that we have at Fire Station 1, as well as the strong desire, it may not be a need, but a strong desire to have through and through bays, which you could not do and cannot do on Fire Station 1, and yet 110 East Canal does provide that opportunity. We were able to settle conditionally on the property at 110 East Canal at a purchase price of $575,000. The primary condition being that council approve the purchase by legislation. So that's what we are asking. We're making that recommendation. We are asking for emergency legislation because with all closings, we like, you want to do these as quickly as possible. Our next step, should this acquisition occur, would be to start the request for proposal process to evaluate potential architects to design a new station, at which point we will come to the council asking for your authorization to sign a contract with that architect, and then from there design the building, come back to council with a recommendation to to go out to bid for the construction at a cost not to exceed whatever that cost is. There are several steps to be done. It's probably a good 18 to 24 month process to get to the point of constructing, possibly being done with construction. So this is just the first step.
What are the plans for financing?
That is part of the next step. It will probably involve bond financing, borrowing against our debt capacity, against our current debt capacity, so it would not be any new ask of the voters or anything like that.
Is there a rough estimate of what you're thinking this is going to be?
Construction costs could be in the range, depending on the space needs and analysis that we accommodate in the study, recognizing that the study is 2 to 3 years old. It could be in the $5 to $6 million range. On top of that, you would have the design and permitting costs. You would have demolition costs of the current building. And so that would all be folded into a financing sale.
All right. If I may, I'll ask Chief Simmons, are the plans to maintain the administrative part of the fire department still going to be at Station 2?
We would look at that. One of the things that we, as Patrick has said, we had that space needs analysis. That's roughly, we received it 2 years ago, but it started before that. As we look long-term to something that, we're looking for something to solve our issues for 30 plus years. So we would look at that, but it's going to come down to, the space that we have, the cost of this is, we want to be fiduciary through this process. We're currently at Station 2. If we could, that would be a want. But if we can't, because of budget constraints, we can be the way we are currently. It's really one of the things that Patrick alluded to, and as we've touched base once again with these architects and firms lately, is the construction costs in the last 2 years have went up almost 20%. So we want to be cost effective, but get our needs met. But if we have some wants, if we can get them in there and drop some of the construction costs down by doing some alternative methods, we can look at that. But we want to be very conscious with the fiduciary cost of the city.
John?
How much property are we looking to buy? Are we buying the property behind the building also that we'll be looking to raise?
Correct. It almost doubles the width of the building. There's a fence right behind there that would take it to the fence line.
Are we going all the way over to the Full Gospel Community Church of God?
It butts right up against that.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. And so you would, when you talk about driving through, you're talking about coming in from behind and going out to Canal?
The way we've looked at that and talked preliminary with some different people, we would that station would be very similar to where Station 1 is kind of set back off of Race. We come out, we make a right-hand turn, and our equipment is pretty large, but we have enough space by the setback to be able to make that right-hand turn. It'd be the same principle on Canal. It'd be set back a little bit, facing Canal Street, set back so we could make a left-hand turn without any obstructions.
We certainly need it downtown. I mentioned before, a couple of months ago, that I'm the only person that really lives downtown, and I hear how much traffic comes in and out of that fire station on a almost daily basis, a nightly basis. And so keeping it downtown is very important. I don't have any other questions right now.
One of the things I really want to point out as well is just to add on to a little bit of what Patrick has said is one of the things that we're not just trying to get a brand new station. That's not the point of this process. Is when the construction of that station was built, the knowledge of what causes cancer currently was not a forethought of how they designed that building and any other fire stations at that time. And so when we started looking and started getting knowledge the last few years of the vehicle exhaust, where to put the bedrooms in contrast to the vehicle exhaust, also all the hose that we get. So when we fight fire, we get that hose, we bring it back to the station, we wash it, but we never really get it fully clean. And so one of the things that our Station 2, and any time during this process, we'd be more than willing to show you some of the design things that are in these new stations that take that into mind. And so when they were looking at our station, because that's going to be a question of the citizens, why are we doing this and why is it costing, why can't we just fix up this current station? The design of that station is precast concrete, and you just can't get those ventilation systems to create that separation from where our people live. And so
When was it built?
1964, opened in 1965.
We've definitely got our use out of it.
Yeah. And so, around the country, that's what's facing fire service currently. We're fortunate that we did find a piece of property that can meet our needs. Some of your bigger metropolitans, they've got to retrofit those stations, and it's very costly to do that. So some of your bigger, larger fire departments like Boston, they can't just move and find another location. So they are one by one retrofitting those fire stations with the best standards to keep the firefighters safe and also to be able to respond. So I wanted to just point that out tonight.
Okay. Appreciate that. Patrick, one question. Why emergency? I know you said it was to get everything.
Well, this is,
moving,
this is a property contract, and I'm not sure where we are in the timelines of that contract, but, we want to close as soon as possible so we can go to the next step. And we can't go to the next step until we close on that property, the next step being getting these RFPs out. That's a time-consuming process, and it'll take several months for us to get to the point where we can come back to you with the next step. So emergency is why we ask.
All right. My concern is I just don't want to feel like I want people to support this endeavor. I don't want to make them feel like we're jamming something down their throat. So.
All I can say is that this is not a surprise, that we've been talking about a fire station project for several years now. And it's taken us a lot longer than we had hoped just to get to this point.
Right. Okay. Does anyone else in the audience have any comments, questions? Okay. John?
I'm good with emergency, moving forward.
Okay, let's move forward.
That's right, thank you.
Now, this will be at the next meeting, right? Okay,
August 5th.
yeah. All right. Nothing else come before finance?
No, sir.
All right.